If you're going to steal, steal from the best. That certainly seems to be the approach taken by Clear Sky Games, the team behind Misplaced. They've jimmied the lock on the Legend of Zelda's treasure chest and made off with its most prized possessions. This 2D action-adventure doesn't just ape the ultra-adorable aesthetic of 2019's Link's Awakening remake, it also features many of the signature hallmarks of Zelda's classic series, from the heart-based health system down to the abundance of long grass to slash through. Yet while Misplaced might not be particularly original, its familiar formula certainly has the potential to please a crowd, which is why it's a RogueJam selection in the Audience Choice category. Let's see what got the game into the competition and why its developers might emerge from the RogueJam dungeon 50,000 rupees richer. Not a lot is known about the broader narrative of Misplaced, but the basic setup seems to have been torn straight out of a Hyrule history book. An impish and conspicuously left-handed hero arrives in a foreign land that's presently under threat from a mysterious evil, and only he can summon the courage and the ever-expanding inventory screen full of tools required to defeat it. Along the way, there'll be no shortage of fetch quests to complete, dungeons to puzzle through, and countless clay pots to needlessly destroy. Though, at least in this hour-long early build of the game, there's a disappointing lack of chickens to harass. There are, however, a nice variety of environments to explore, from wandering through the sun-kissed crops of the Token tiny village to slowly creeping by torchlight through dark woods shrouded in fog. As was the case with the Link's Awakening remake, almost every element of the world looks as though it was carefully constructed out of plastic pieces that tumbled out of a toy box. It's certainly easy on the eyes, although the names for its people and places currently lack a bit of personality. For example, one of the first characters you meet is an old man called Old Man, and later you arrive in an ice-covered world called Ice World. The first weapons you get your hands on are equally unremarkable, a wooden sword and shield, but they're still fun to use. The shield can be employed to deflect projectile attacks from the Octorok-inspired enemies, or to push otherwise immovable objects like giant spiked balls in order to access new areas. It also brings an engaging twitchiness to fights with the heavily armored knights, since the only way to tackle them head-on is by timing your block to parry their attacks in order to briefly open them up to a deadly counter. While certain other tools are less inspiring to wield, like the large hammer that can only be used to knock down occasional square pegs that obstruct your path, there are some devices that suggest the foundations of Misplaced may be more dynamic than they initially appear. Perhaps taking inspiration from a more modern Zelda game in Breath of the Wild, a torch can be used to set thorny vegetation alight, and its flames will spread to engulf other plants and grass nearby, which might prove to have some enjoyably unpredictable effects on combat. Other items like a fire rod and magnets are hinted at in Misplaced's first trailer, with the latter presumably used to manipulate this interesting ball-based puzzle found in the opening hour of the game. Bombs, boomerangs, and a bow and arrow? Yep, it's more than likely they'll all be in here too, and admittedly, there's a concern that you've seen all that Misplaced has to offer before. Unless, of course, you've never owned a Nintendo system. That seems to be exactly what Clear Sky Games is banking on, since Misplaced is intended to launch on both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X to audiences that are perhaps not as accustomed to the established adventures of Link. Currently a team of only 2 members, Clear Sky Games is promising to expand their studio should they win the RogueJam prize. If they're able to take these tried and tested Zelda fundamentals and bring some more innovation to the experience, making it more of a knockout than a knockoff, then Misplaced could yet become a legend in its own right.